Our assignment for tonight. Let's get on with it. So, first question. First few questions, 4 questions, just to review what we did yesterday, which was combining like terms, right? Making sure we combine the like terms. Like terms are terms that have the same variable raised to the same power. Now, terms are part of an expression. So if you look at this expression here, I can tell you that's made up of 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 parts, or in this case we call it terms. How are terms separated one from the other? With an addition or subtraction sign. And we'll talk more about this tomorrow, okay? But this first expression is made up of 4 terms. Now, we're asked to combine the like terms, so I'm going to look for anything that there are like terms. So let's start with negative 4y. So this is, and I'm going to circle it. And I'm looking for something else that has a y, and we have one over here. And remember, that term starts with the addition sign and goes all the way to the edge of the variable. So these two are like terms, and I'm going to write them side by side. Negative 4y plus 9y. Right next to it, I'm going to write the other like terms. It starts with the addition sign and goes to the edge of 7m, so it's plus 7m. And this last one is negative 8m, and I write them side by side. Much easier to look at. I can combine both of them, so I have negative 4y plus 9y gives me 5y. And 7m minus 8m gives me negative 1m. You can write it like that, or I much prefer you just write it as negative m. Okay? There should always be one sign between the terms, not 2. Okay, so that's the answer for the first one. Second one, negative a squared, so I'm going to circle that. And anything else with a squared? Yes, there's one here. It's minus negative 2a squared. So I'll write them side by side. 4a minus 4a and minus 12a are like terms. So I'm going to write them side by side. And lastly, the positive 9 here. That's just going to hang out there for a little bit. Okay. So let's do the first one. So it's negative a squared minus 2a. Remember, there's a 1 here. So if you ignore the variables, the a squared for a second, you're actually left with this. What's negative 1 minus 2? Again, if you want to change that to an addition problem, we keep the addition, we keep the negative 1 is negative 1. The subtraction becomes addition, and 2 becomes negative 2. Much easier to look at sometimes. So negative 1 plus negative 2 is negative 3, and don't forget to write the variable. The second part, we have negative 4a minus 12a. Again, let's leave the variable on the side for a second and just focus on the coefficients. You've got negative 4 and negative 12. If you want to change that to an addition, you get negative 4 plus negative 12, right? Keep the first the same, the subtraction becomes addition, and 12, and the additive inverse, or the opposite of 12, is negative 12, and that's what we use. So negative 4 plus negative 12 is negative 16, so that's what I write right here. And the plus 9. So the answer to the second one is negative 3a squared minus 16 plus 9. Moving on, C, xy. Let's look for something that's xy, and there is one right here, minus 10xy. Let's write them side by side. So 7xy minus 10xy. Is there a x? Negative x? No, it's going to be just by itself. And then y's, there's 2. Negative 8y. Sorry, let me change colors. Circle, starting with the sign and go to the edge of the variable. So negative 8y, and then the other one minus 12y. So all the like terms are next to each other. Now I need to combine them. 7xy minus 10xy is negative 3xy. Negative 9x does absolutely nothing. And then I got to combine negative 8 with negative 12. So again, pull it out aside if you need to. So keep negative 8 as it is. The subtraction becomes addition, and the additive inverse of 12, or the opposite of 12, is negative 12. Negative 8 plus negative 12 is negative 20. And that's my expression. Please don't forget that. So sometimes you might, I see somebody writing it like this. Notice that there's no sign here. There's no sign between this 3xy and the 9x. You need something here, right? So either a plus or a minus. In this case, it was a minus. Distributive property. So that's what we worked on today. Okay. I think the McDonald's example was hopefully helped. So this says 3 times parentheses 4k minus 9. So we're going to multiply everybody by 3 inside the parentheses. So 3 multiplies the 4k and the 3 multiplies the 9. What you really have to be careful with is the signs. Right? So the 3 is positive, the 4 is positive, and the 9 is negative. Right? So if you do the first two, it's positive 3, positive 4. 3 times 4 is 12. And don't forget the k. It's positive 3 and negative 9. Positive times a negative is a negative, and then 3 times 9 is 27. Can I combine these two? No, I cannot. Therefore, this is my final answer. Over here, let me just write this a little bigger. There's an invisible 1, and I'm going to put it over here. 8y minus 7. If you want to put the 1 there, put it. If you don't want to, it's okay. So now I have a negative 1 times a positive 8. A negative times a positive is a negative, and 1 times 8 is 8. Second part, so I just did this. Second part is a negative times, and again, what kind of 7 is that? It's a negative. So negative times a negative is a positive. 1 times 7 is a 7. Here, you're going to say, hey, there is nothing outside. You know what there is? There's a 1 here. A positive 1. And this is easy, right? Because positive 1 times 12, and then positive, so let's do that, sorry. Positive 1 times positive 12 is 12v. And positive times this negative 5, right? So we just did this, and then positive 1 times negative 5 is negative, and 1 times 5 is negative 5. Again, really careful with your signs. First one, negative 3, that's a negative 3. This is a negative 5, and this is a negative 9. So everybody's negative. Which makes it a little bit easier, right? Negative times a negative is a positive, and 3 times 5 is 15, but 15 what? A to the 7th power. Next. Negative times a negative, again, is a positive, and then I get to multiply, and 3 times 9 is 27. Can I combine these two? I cannot. So it's repetitive, but it just works on you understanding the signs, right, of the numbers. Negative times a positive, so the 4 is negative, the 10 is positive, the 7 is negative, and the 4 is positive. Okay. Negative times a positive is a negative. 4 times 10 is 40. P. Second one, negative times a negative is a positive, and 4 times 7 is 28. Last one, negative times a positive is a negative, and 4 times 4 is 16. A squared. Can I combine anything? No. So always look at the end if you can combine any like terms, if there are like terms. Okay, what kind of 5 is this? It's a positive. The 3 is negative, and the 1 is negative. So 5 times, positive times a negative is a negative. 5 times 3 is 15, but 15, m. 5 positive and negative 1. Positive times a negative is a negative, and 5 times 1 is 5. Okay? Let me move this up. Erase. Where are we? Here. So, again, in front of that m, there's a 1. I'm going to put it there. And then we're going to multiply the negative 6 times everybody inside the parentheses. So, first one, negative times a negative is a positive. 6 times 1 is positive 6. M. Negative 6 and positive 2. Negative times a positive is a negative. 6 times 2 is 12 each. Negative times positive 1, right? So it's a negative 6 and positive 1. So first of all, it's going to be negative, and then 6 times 1 is just 6. Here, the 9 is positive, the 5 is positive, the w to the 3rd power, well, don't forget, I'm going to put a 1 there. That's a negative, and then negative 9. So minus 9, think of that 9 as negative. Again, we're going to multiply the 9 times everybody inside. Once I do that, remember, you can remove the parentheses. That's the whole purpose here, to remove the parentheses, right? To do the distributive property and remove the parentheses. 9 positive and 5 positive is positive, so it's 45h. 9 is positive times negative 1, so it's going to be negative, and 9 times 1 is negative 9, w to the 3rd power. And lastly, we have positive 9 and negative 9, so that's going to be positive times a negative is a negative, and 9 times 9 is 81. Next one, it's negative 7 times negative 3, so a negative times a negative is positive, so 21 m squared. Negative 7 times a positive 4. Negative times a positive is a negative, and 7 times 4 is 28. And lastly, negative times a negative is a positive, and 7 times 5 is 35W. Okay. Over here, I'm going to put a 1 here. Again, you don't have to, but I'm going to. And a 1 in front of the 8. And we're going to multiply. So the first one, 2 times 1, they're both positive. Nothing to think about, so 2n. Second one, 2 times negative 1. Positive times a negative is a negative. 2 times 1 is 2, and then a squared. 2 times negative 4. Well, positive and a negative is negative, and 2 times 4 is 8. What kind of 8? B cubed. And lastly, 2 times negative 5, it's going to be negative 10c. Look at it, see if you can combine anything. If you can't, then we're done. Right? So again, remember, these two expressions, this guy right here, let me just erase this. This expression, 2 parentheses, m minus a squared minus 4b cubed minus 5c close parentheses is equal to this expression. They're both the same exact, except that they're written differently. Okay? Now, for the next section, I think we can combine like terms. So we're going to do the distributive property, and then we're going to combine like terms. Okay? So the first problem, negative 5 and positive 2 is negative 10m. Negative 5, so we just did this. And then negative 5 times positive 1, negative times a positive is a negative, and 5 times 1 is 5, and then minus 8. Don't. The 5 does not multiply the 8. The 8 is outside the parentheses. Okay? So the parentheses are gone because I did the distributive property. Now I look at it and see if I can combine, and I can. Look, these two guys, this guy here and this guy here, are like terms, and lucky for us, they're right next to each other. So negative 10m stays, and let's figure out what negative 5 minus 8 is. So negative 5, I'll put it over here, minus 8. Keep the first one, change the subtraction to addition, and 8 becomes the opposite, or the additive inverse, which is negative 8. And what's negative 5 plus negative 8? Negative 13, and that's what we write over here. So the final answer is negative 10m minus 13. Okay? So here we did distributive property and we combined like terms. Okay. Same P. Positive 7, negative 3, it's negative 21k. Positive 7, negative 5, it's going to give me negative 35. And then plus 15k. Are there like terms? Yes. We have 2. So I'm going to circle this guy and circle this guy. And I'm going to rewrite the expression and have the like terms next to each other. So I got negative 21k plus 15k side by side, and then that negative 35 is going to be in the corner here, just waiting. So negative 21 plus 15k, it's already addition. I don't have to change anything, so think about that. Negative 21 plus 15k is going to give me positive 6k, and then the minus 35. So this, our answer, 6k minus 35, is a simplified version of our original expression. Okay? That's what we're doing. We're simplifying, right? We're taking the original expression and making it a little bit neater. Negative 8, again, that is not next to the parenthesis, not negative 8, who is going to be multiplying, but this guy, the 4. 4 is next to the parenthesis, and he's going to be multiplying every term inside the parenthesis. So negative 8 gets to hang out for a little bit. And then let's do positive 4, positive 5, so they're both positive, so my answer is going to be positive. 4 times 5 is 20. B squared, don't forget the B squared. Next, it's a positive 4 and a negative 11, so positive times a negative is negative. 4 times 11 is 44. Look at it, can I combine? Yes, we can. This guy here and this guy here can be combined. Let's put them side by side. And then the plus 20 B squared. So let's take care of this. Negative 8 minus 44. Again, take a moment to put it to the side here if you need to. If you want to draw a line like this to break it up into 3 parts, the first one stays, subtraction becomes addition, and the opposite of 44 is negative 44. Those of you who like this view better than this, the negative 8 minus 44, it might be easier to see it. So negative 8 plus negative 44, I have debt of negative 8. I go and spend more money, so I'm going to be further in debt. So I'm going to be further left on the number line. So if I combine these two, I get negative 52. plus 20b squared. And that's my final answer. Here, same thing, and again, it's becoming repetitive, but you need a little practice. 5m is not multiplying anyone, right? It's the 3 that's going to be multiplying every term in the parentheses. But what kind of 3 is that? It's a negative 3, so really careful. Negative 3 and negative 2. Negative and negative is a positive. 3 times 2 is 6m. Negative 3 and negative 10. Negative times a negative is a positive. And then 3 times 10 is 30. Like terms, yeah, we got 2 right next to each other. 5m and 6m. Right? We don't have to move anything, so they're side by side. What's 5m plus 6m? 11m. Plus, don't forget the 30. So this is your final answer. T. Ooh, we have quite a few more. All right, let's move on. T. Okay, so T. 18 doesn't do anything. It's a negative 6 that's being distributed to every term inside. So it's negative 6 and a positive 2, so it gives me negative, right? 6 times 2 is 12. Negative 6 and negative 3, it's going to be negative times a negative, which is positive, and 6 times 3 is 18w. Like terms, well, lucky for us, again, they just happen to be side by side, but we can combine those two. 18 minus 12 gives me 6, and then plus 18w. On this side, again, the negative 9c is, this guy is just hanging out here, doing absolutely nothing. Now, we're going to multiply the positive 2 times everybody inside. Let's start with the 2 and the 5. They're both positive, so the answer is just simply 10m. That c is also positive. Remember, there's a 1, so 2 times 1 is just 2, positive. 2c, don't forget the c. And then 2 times negative 1. Positive times a negative is a negative, and 2 times 1 is 2. Do we have like terms? Yes, we do. We have 2 right here. This guy here, and this guy here. Starts with the sign and goes to the edge of the variable. So let me put them side by side. And I'm write plus 10m minus 2. The plus 10m and minus 2 don't do anything. So now, what's negative 9c plus 2c? Well, that's going to be negative 7c. And then we attach the 10m plus 10m minus 2. Okay, this one, a little different. So again, you can put a 1. And then we're going to multiply negative 1 times this. And this, we're going to multiply that. Okay, if you want to put a 1 here. So, negative 1 times negative 1 is positive. So 1 times 1 is positive, and you can write 1w. Negative 1 times negative 8, so negative times a negative, and 1 times, so first of all it's going to be positive, I'm sorry, and then 1 times 8 is 8. And then the plus 3w. Remember, 3w is not into parentheses, so it's not participating in the distributive property. Do you see like terms? Yes, we do. There's 1 here, and there's 1 here. So it's 1w plus 3w side by side, and then the plus 8 at the end. 1w plus 3w is 4w, and then the plus 8. 15, and again, right, I think I'm giving you different views, right? There's a 1 here, a negative 1. 15 is not doing the distributive property, so let's just put the 15 here to the side. Let's focus on the 1. This 1 is being, it's going to multiply everybody inside the parentheses. So that's a negative 1, a positive 4, and a negative 12. Negative 1 and positive 4 is negative. 1 times 4 is 4m. Negative 1 and negative 12, right? It's going to be positive, and 1 times 12 is just 12. Like terms, yeah. 15 and the 12, positive 12 are like terms. Let's put them side by side. And then the minus 4m, a little bit too dark, towards the right. 15 plus 12, that's easy, right? 27. And then minus 4m. Okay, the equations that we're going to do has all these. Okay, so I'm glad that we're reviewing this. Okay, this has 2 distributive properties. So this is, right, 2 is multiplying the 4 and the 5, and then 7 will be multiplying the 9 and the 12. So there's 2 distributive properties to do here. Okay, positive 2, positive 4, that's easy, 8k. Positive 2 and negative 5, it's going to be 2 times negative 5, which is negative 10. The second one, positive 7 and positive 9. 7 times 9 is going to be plus 63. Okay. And then positive 7 and positive 12 is going to give us plus 88. 4. Like terms, I see them here. Sorry, change colors. I see them here. 8k and positive 63k will be side by side. And then negative 10 and positive 84 will be side by side. Combine like terms, what's positive 8, 63k? They're both positive, so it's just 8 plus 63, 71k. Here it's negative 10 plus 84, so it's going to be positive 74. Final answer. Next one, again, two distributive properties. Here's one, and here's the other one. Right? First one, let me put a 1 here, by the way. Negative 8 times positive 1, and negative times a positive is a negative. Negative times a positive is a negative. 8 times 1 is just 8, and don't forget the W. Negative 8 times negative 3, negative times a negative is positive. So 8 times 3, 24. So that's the first distributive property. The second one, it's a negative 7 and a positive 4. So negative times a positive is a negative. 7 times 4, 28. And lastly, negative 7 and positive 8. Again, negative times a positive is a negative, and 7 times 8, 56. Like terms, yep. We have like terms. So negative 8w is circle, and negative 28w is circle, and I'm going to put them side by side. And then the other two like terms is positive 24 and negative 56. We can combine those two. Negative 8 minus 28, negative 36w. And 24, positive, and negative 56 is going to be 22. No, 32. Negative 32. Okay. Last two questions. So here we have, oh, it's just a little bit longer, that's all it is. Okay, so recognize where the distributive property is happening. It's happening here, okay, not the negative 12. And then here, notice that there's no number outside the parentheses, but we're going to put a 1. So the distributive property is going to happen here and here. And I'm going to put another 1 in front of the M. Not necessary, but I'm going to put it there. So this negative 12 here is doing absolutely nothing. So leave that like that. It's part of your expression. And now let's multiply. What kind of 5 is that? It's a negative 5. What kind of 3 is that? It's a negative 3. So negative times a negative, positive. 5 times 3, 15, and don't forget the M. Negative 5 times negative 6, so 2 negatives gives me a positive, and 5 times 6 is 30. Done. The second distributive property. Well, we have a negative 1 here and a positive 1 inside. So negative times a positive is a negative. 1 times 1 is 1. Don't forget the M. And then we have negative 1 and negative 7. It's going to give me a positive, right? Because negative times a negative is a positive. And 1 times 7 is a 7. Like terms. This and this and that. So negative 12, positive 30, and positive 7 are all like terms. So put them next to each other. Now we have positive 15m minus 1m. They're like terms. So here we have 3 numbers. So negative 12 plus 30, do these two first. You get 18. 18 plus 7, you can simplify that to 25. And these two, 15m minus 1m, that's a little bit easy. It's going to give me positive 14m. That's it. So this 25 plus 14m is the same thing as this ugly expression that we started with. They have the exactly same value. But obviously ours is simplified. Last question. Let me recognize where the distributive property is happening. It's happening here. And it's happening here. Okay? So we have two numbers currently, negative 12 and negative 16, who's going to just wait a little bit. So let's start. So negative 12, let me put them on right there. And let me start multiplying. So what kind? So you gotta make sure you know if the numbers you're multiplying is positive or negative. So we have a negative 9 and a positive 3. Negative and a positive is a negative. 9 times 3, 27. Next, negative 9 and negative 12. They're both negative, so we're going to have positive, and 9 times 12 is 108. We have another set of distributive property to do. It's a negative 4 times a negative 8, so negative times a negative is a positive, and 4 times 8 is 32. Negative 4 and negative 2, so they're both negatives, which gives me a positive, and 4 times 2 is 8w. And then, let me attach the negative 16, right? Please, that's not inside the parentheses, so does not participate in the distributive property. Okay, combine like terms. So let's look at, I have a negative 12, oops. I have a negative 12, it's just an old-fashioned number. I have a 108, plus 108, sorry. I have a plus 32, and I have a minus 16. All those can be combined. Plus 32, minus 16. And then I have these two guys here, negative 27w and plus 8w. Those two can be combined. Okay. So I'm gonna do negative 12 and 108 first. Okay. Give me a second. Negative 12 plus 108 plus 32 minus 16. I mean, on your test you will have a calculator. Okay. So negative 12 plus 108 plus 32 minus 16, and that's going to give us all that. It has the same meaning as the number 112. And then we have negative 27 plus 8, so negative plus a positive, right? So the negatives are going to win if you think of the armies, right? Why are they going to win? Because they have more. So 27, and once they do get out, we're going to have some negatives for the winners, and how many of them? 19. But don't forget to tell me. Don't forget the variable 19w. That's final answer. 112 minus 19w has its equivalent, right? It's an equivalent of expression, albeit very small, to this one. I'd much rather deal with this than this ugly thing over here. Okay? I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so you will watch some of it and check your answers.